You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hey there, welcome to another of my authentic conversations with a friend. It's been 9 or 10 weeks since I've had one of these, and I don't know about you, but I've been missing these connections and am so grateful to weave them in whenever the opportunity presents. Today, I'm talking with my beautiful friend, Holly Herlocker. She is also a life coach, and we connected during our post-certification track. I just loved her authenticity and her sass from the moment I met her virtually. I said, she is one of my soul sisters for sure, because she just tells it like it is. And she's from Arkansas, so hence the adorable accent that you're going to hear. Holly and I connect from time to time and just have the best conversations, so I wanted to share one of them with you today. Now, we're going to be talking about her building her dream home in the woods and realizing after a year of being there, all of the ways that she was stuck and all up in her head around the little things around her house and making it her home. All of her thoughts about it were holding her back from truly tapping into her heart, her life, and her purpose. So you're going to hear us talk about hanging pictures and the placement of planters on her porch, but I want you to really listen for all of the metaphors. This is how amazing that Holly is. I asked her to send me a bio so that I could weave it into the intro like I do. And she sent me this text last night that as soon as I read it, I decided that is going to be her bio, because we are being real, raw, and authentic, right? I told her I was going to use this as it is the best description of today's topic. So here goes. Holly says, the bio is super generic info. I don't care if you share any of it. I think the part that matters the most, I shared in the convo. But I'd say one thing that I wouldn't mind being introduced with is this idea that the seemingly unimportant, air quotes, places in life like home decor or even clothing style, music, art, literature, even cooking, gardening, domestic and artistic pleasure are absolutely important because they have the power to bring so much joy, expression, and offer us a playground for our imagination. Instead of just checking the check boxes and responsible things we've committed ourselves to, how we spend our time becomes how we spend our lives. I'm out on checking the boxes and following a bunch of social norms when everything in my gut and inner God is saying that I and the world need a lot more. So this is Holly. She is a true badass. Let's do this. Welcome, my sweet friend Holly. So glad you're here.
Hello.
I'm
Me
so happy
too.
to have you here today. Recording a conversation that, we tend to have from time to time anyway. I just thought we would share this one with others.
Yeah.
What lights you up, girl?
So, what lights me up right now? It's summertime, and my garden lights me up in the most amazing ways. Nature. I am loving my clients, experiences with my clients, and one of the themes of all of that for me is kind of this, probably the bigger overarching thing that lights me up is kind of seeing how I can break rules in all these settings, from coaching and in my house and around, in my life, and how the kind of rules are holding me back, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Rules being social norms and what's okay and not okay. And, where the hell we pick this stuff up? I don't know. It's all these sources, right? But I'm kind of in a place of seeing like how um, those rules are not serving me and they're totally optional.
So being lit up by coming to a place of awareness of like what your next step in life needs to be. Yes. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Like, yeah. So a couple of months ago, I had this experience in my home, which we built our home. Um, and we never thought we would be people that could build a home. But we built it, and it's out in the woods. And part of my thinking the whole time was like, if I'm clearing this land and I'm putting a home here, it's going to be an amazing home. We're not going to I'm going to ask for what I want. I never want to do this again. I want to die here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want this to be our forever home where we can grow and change and evolve and, um, you know, be outside and be in nature and have like a kind of part of our vision was to like, let's have friends and it feel like a retreat to everyone. And, just we've lived in the city for a long time, and we actually had a wonderful view of the Little Rock skyline. We're in Arkansas, and it was wonderful, but it was noisy, and our neighbors were right there, and we were just kind of could feel nature getting strangled out
Mm-hmm.
of our life, and we just wanted to be out in the woods. And so when it came down to moving, we were at a kind of pivotal point. We decided we were looking for a home in the woods, and then we realized, oh my God, we could actually build a house.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never wanted to build a house that just was affordable. It was just it was just that, I wanted it to be, I guess, do justice to the land that it was on. And whether or not it was ours, whether or not we could stay here and be in it was like, I'm willing to take that risk, like,
Mm-hmm.
to build this house. We were in a house that was built in 1947, and it had all the walls and all the stairs and
Mm-hmm.
all the things. And in living in that house, I realized, how much I wanted to improve on it and the limitations of that were so steep. But I kept like a file of ideas that felt like it would accommodate me and my creative urges in the kitchen or outside, or to, have friends over and them have a lovely place to stay. And
So we're talking about creativity, visualization, design, and
yes,
connecting with nature. We're talking about all of those things that are just kind of like going through your mind as priorities
yes.
for this space that you're in now. And help me with this so I understand, why is our space so important?
Well, I
Our
think
surroundings.
in living in the home that was kind of a challenge for us, that we felt frustrated with. Just to grill a steak outside, we had to do it on the carport and in front of our car, whatever, because our kitchen was right off. You have your home and it kind of has these limitations, but in those challenges, there was like a gift of like inspiration, like what I do want, it's like, I don't want this, but what I do want, it would be that. And
Mm.
so for years, I kind of kept a swipe file around stuff like that, and then gradually let it come to life. And I think so for me, I'm not an interior designer. I'm actually a graphic designer.
Mhm.
um I have like a degree in sociology, and I went back to school during a kind of quarter life crisis.
Mhm.
When my husband and I found out we could have kids, I was like, all right, I'm out of this job that I was in that I didn't love. And I went to art school. And in art school, I found, not really found, but I kind of sort of to understand like my right brain and that the harmony that it brings in, and the way you can see and feel and be in the world from that place in your mind that is one with nature. It's one with other humans. It's connected. It's happy. It's a playful mess too,
Mhm.
it's totally in the moment and completely absorbed with what would be fun. And I've been a life coach. We certified together, but
Mhm.
for a year and a half now. And I had this experience a couple months ago where it was spring was coming on, and we have this amazing house. And we've lived here for a year. About the time I started my business, actually, it was very like congruent to the business. But I realized that day on the porch when I was kind of bringing my plants in and decorating it, like I haven't been living here. I haven't been living here in a way that I felt compelled to throw art on the wall and
Mhm.
move stuff around and, kind of like really settle in and play from a creative standpoint. And it's my dream house, like
Yeah.
that. I realized too, like we had some trouble with our builder. He kind of like, he basically went MIA, and our annual checklist went undone, and we had some things that were undone on the exterior of the house. And I had realized on that day I'd been kind of in a victim mode where I haven't really been taking responsibility. Like, okay, this is our house. It doesn't matter if the builder, didn't do what he was supposed to do. Ultimately, it's our responsibility. And I don't want to have, the unfinished exterior or these problems. And so what am I going to do about it?
Mhm.
Taking on a place of like, from a place of power instead of like, it's their fault. It's never going to be right. Like, well, I got to make it right. Like that felt like shit,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And I realized that day on the porch, a friend of mine was moving. This couple was moving, and she gave me like an outside rug and a bunch of planters. And if you're plant people, that like that stuff is expensive.
Mhm.
Um, and it takes a long time to kind of accumulate and whatever. And so she had given me a ton of stuff. And I came home and just the big flurry of like, what? So excited. And I literally, like, my husband was gone and it was just me. And I planted all the things and moved them and hung them. And I realized, like, even with the exterior out here in my porch not being finished, which, by the way, no one else could see but me,
Right.
and I was always apt to point out, like, here's the problem, here's the problem, here's the problem. I was so focused on what was wrong. I was not living there. I was not enjoying what is,
Mm. I
And
love that.
so
I love that.
it was, yes, I literally just went, oh my God, I have not been living here. I am in my dream house. I am in this amazing life,
Yeah.
really. And
Yeah.
I am so focused on what is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
yeah.
That's so interesting too, because even as you're telling that story, I mean, my mind is going to how are we doing that to ourselves in other areas of our lives? Like,
Oh, well, and that, my friend,
you
like,
know?
how many ways can I make my husband a problem, or the fact that I don't like social media a problem, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just how many ways am I blaming or not, really owning this powerful brain of mine who
Mhm.
has the capacity to problem solve? And, the fact of the matter is, I'm a house person and I'm a doer. I'm out with my hands in the ground. I'd be in, if this was a new home that we just purchased or whatever from someone else, I would have painted every room by now. I mean,
Mhm.
I would have been free to put my mark on it. And then there was something about this house, though, that I was not taking responsibility for. And it literally came out of my brain, like the
Yeah.
design for it, all the things, that was another thing too. Like, we're outside people. I wanted it to flow with outside. I wanted to be able to take my compost out to the compost pile, and
Mm-hmm.
my husband run out and throw something on the grill and be in and out, and have a window that would slide in and out and pass things to each other, and plenty of doors and plenty of open spaces and plenty of light and all of that. And that same day while I was working, I left some shoes by the back door because they were grassy and um, and just filthy, because it's a new house. We don't have all the pathways and concrete and patios that we want. We have an excellent porch, but it's mainly grass.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm walking in and out of the garden to my potting shed and back and forth. And so I naturally left my shoes there. And later on, I was looking for my shoes, and in my closet, which I thought, damn it, Holly, you've designed this house. You got your closet right here, and you don't even put your shit in it, And then as I went to go get my shoes to discover them at the back door, I went, oh, because it makes sense when your grassy shoes go by the back porch, Holly. Like, it's not a problem
Yeah.
if it's not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so I mean, again, I know I've said interesting a couple of times. Okay, fascinating, actually. Fascinating. I love that word too. How our brains just do make problems out of the smallest things. Right.
Yes. Like,
And then
how many people keep their shoes in a basket?
right.
Tons. But
Yeah.
me, I'm like, no,
No, it has
why
to go in this
not?
closet. Well, this closet was designed for shoes, so the shoes go in that closet, right?
Right.
Yeah, that just let's talk about rules because, what about rules do you think was keeping you stuck for that first year in your dream home of playing victim because the
Well,
builder.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So the builder, I think he had some financial problems, or like a problem client that really sent him into maybe a bankruptcy situation. I don't actually know, but I don't think he's in business anymore. And he was not responding to my emails with my punch lists and all the things. And he had kind of dwindled at the end of our build anyway. So um, you asked me the problems. I was making him a problem,
Hmm.
and making it a problem that, I had to chase down any of the subcontractors to get some of the work done.
Hmm.
Kind of in the same way that I had made him a problem, I had been making um, my niche a problem in my business.
Hmm.
Like, my business was such a problem. I mean, I my niche has historically been like that. I coach creative professionals who feel stuck. And something had felt off about that for a long time for me. Like, it wasn't, I love the subject of creativity. And I've been a graphic designer and branding consultant for, 5 years on my own, 6 years now, as a freelancer independent. And so I've been running a business, and then send me into life coach training, and holy shit, I mean, send me out to, start a life coach business. And I'm like, oh, I'm so inadequate. Who am I to do this? And this is all wrong. And I realized, like, I felt like I had to have the answers, what it's going to look like in the end, how I'm going to be before I even got started,
Hmm.
And the rules say when you get out of school, coaching training or whatever, they're like, pick a niche and go with it.
Hmm.
Well, and to some
And don't
degree,
change it for a year. You're not allowed
and
to
don't
change it
change
for
it
a
for
year.
you.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. I
I
mean,
set
those are the
in,
rules.
yes, those are the
Right.
rules.
Right.
I
Right.
set in a lot of anxiety around this not being
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And while I think it's important to listen to myself, I wish that I had the message of, look, the niche will find you,
Hmm.
and you're going to be great at this. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep putting yourself out there.
Hmm.
But I kind of felt like I was playing small in a lot of ways, because I felt like I had to know
Hmm.
exactly what that was.
Hmm.
And it's so obvious to us as coaches when we're coaching someone to
Hmm.
say, look how that thought is really crippling you. And what if, it didn't matter, but when you're
living it.
inside
Yeah.
the jar, which I like to say, you don't see the label. Like, you don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like this experience with my home. It was like, look at how I think the rules for the home decor thing were kind of like, look, I'm pretty free in what I will do in decorating my home, whatever I have, and I'll use it in new and creative ways. And so that day when I was decorating the porch, I was like, oh, my mom gave me these old saucers that would be awesome to hold candles. And ooh, this wicker chair would be great outside. I don't need a new couch. I don't need a fancy couch. I don't need to build some couch. I don't need to buy some couch. I got some chairs here. Let's throw Mama's blanket over them. I mean, it's not a problem to wash it. If I'm the one that's washing it, then
Mm-hmm.
let's wash it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have everything I need right here to create a beautiful space. And I have everything I need to create a beautiful coaching business that actually gets to the point of what I want to do in this world, which is, I think, ultimately help people who don't think they can be go into this creative, fun, playful, right brain place that is so, in my mind, kind of what the world needs. It's literally like what everyone needs more of. We need less. You're wrong. You're right. You're this. You're that. Have to do it perfect. And we need more experimentation and play and empathy and connection with each other.
Yes, experimentation, play, and empathy and connection. Yeah, those are not, you can't really put rules around those things. And we
Absolutely.
and we get so out of touch with them because we listen to the world around us so much that says, okay, I literally had a conversation with a dear, dear childhood friend of mine over the weekend about talking about her mother's house and when it was built. And they, I think, went into a whole lawsuit around it and all of that because, there's this whole punch list. And it's so funny when you said, when you were talking about your house and all of the flaws, if you will, that still remained, all of the unfinished things, it's like I'm the only one that could see it, you know.
Yeah.
And she said the same thing. She said, oh well, when you would first go in there, it's beautiful and you would not notice any of these things, but after you stay a while then
Mm-hmm.
you see this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And I think even so, it's so wild that metaphorically, I mean, really, these things in our lives, the houses and the businesses, and if you have a job, as what you call a jobby job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you
Yeah.
have a jobby job, um, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with, but we get so twisted around having this visualization being everything needs to look this way, then I will be happy, then I will be complete, then I will be whole,
Yes.
then I will be. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, when the stain on the exterior is finished and I've got all the, like, they didn't trim the exterior or whatever. When all that's done, then it'll be great. Then,
Yeah.
and I just realized, like, oh my gosh, as I was playing on the porch, with my flea market finds and my friends' hand me downs and whatever I could pull from inside and outside and all the things, I was like, oh, like, this will work for now. It's beautiful right now. And it may not last forever. It may not be the thing that I want out here forever, but it's perfect for right now.
For right now. Yeah.
And I get to change it anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like I was saying, like, going to my garden I have to track in grass, my feet get dirty, and we have like short pants for grass, I like to say, because we didn't saw it all the way down the hill or whatever. So there's
Mm-hmm.
parts where it's patchy, and we've lived here a year and a half now. So that it's getting there, but it's not there. And I'm like, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
This is where we are.
Yeah.
Someday I'll have a lovely flagstone pathway to my vegetable garden and potting shed, and there'll be a patio and maybe something else. But today, this is where we are. And I don't have to, like, not everything is a means to an end, And I think, wow, if in terms of turning this into a coaching experience, that's a key part of it too. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
settle down, boo. Where you are is perfect. What you have is perfect.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to have this dreamy list of what you want to accumulate and what you would like to create and what you'd like to display,
Mm-hmm.
um, and even improve on and edit, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that, but we don't have to rush to do that, because in the rush you miss this.
Yes, it's like the journey. It is about the journey, not the destination, you know?
Totally.
And that is life. I mean, that is life. And expressing gratitude for what you have now, finding gratitude for this moment in this now, and finding some bit of perfection in this moment, in this now, is only going to help further serve you on your journey and get you to the things that you truly want. But
Right.
but having that negative energy around, okay, this is shit, everything sucks,
Yes. It's just
is
going to make everything suck.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah.
it's counterintuitive because again, the rules have kind of taught us from the time we were children that if we check all these boxes and we do all these things and we have this, and this, then we will be whole, complete, and worthy human beings.
Right.
Then we will,
Which is a load of crap.
right.
Right. And I think, you know, it's this moment that we have that is wonderful. Even if the balance in your bank account isn't where you air quote want it,
Hmm.
and even if the paint's peeling off the wall, even if there's whatever's going on in life, like, the truth of the matter is, it, if we look back at our lives and we kind of categorize the biggest challenges in them, we can now from this place see how those challenges in our life made us who we are and made us more empathetic, made us more appreciative of the good. They made us aware of ourselves in some powerful way. They became a gift,
Yeah.
There's something we learned or an opportunity to create something better or innovative or whatever. That they shape our values. And when we're in it, that left brain gets so into how horrible it is and how wrong it is and how we shouldn't do this. And it's, you're standing in the middle of the woods looking at this one tree instead of backed up going, okay, this is just one moment in all of my life.
Hmm.
From the place where you back up, which is the right brain that kind of goes, here's the forest,
Hmm.
boo. Get out of that and come look at the whole scene and see how can this be for you, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything happens for you. And and
Everything happens for you.
and it's so very true that in the moment it's very hard to see, but I love how you keep bringing it back to, but this moment, this now is perfect as it is.
Yeah.
And also the I have everything I need dot 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 fill in the blank. You know,
Mm,
I have everything I need to whatever is an amazing
whatever.
affirmation.
Yeah.
Everything I need. One of my favorites is everything I need is inside me now, right?
Absolutely. From the moment you lift
Waiting.
your head off the pillow in the morning, you have everything you need. You're equipped. I
Yeah.
don't need to learn another thing. I don't need to anything. I
Hmm.
know how to walk out in my yard and what plants I can move around and throw them in the ground somewhere else where they might be happier. And I, I recently kind of had too, even after this, I've been sitting on this experience that I have with my porch and kind of like, okay, how can I turn this into a coaching experience? There's literally metaphors slapping me in the face left and right,
Yeah.
um, around self appreciation and like places in my life where, like, I literally had my mom had given me an old coffee cup of my dad's. It's like a tomato soup cup,
Mm-hmm.
literally a mug. And I remember him carrying that like a groggy, all right, don't talk to me, to
Mm-hmm.
go into another room to drink it and then coming back like a whole new human. And now it sits on my open shelves in my kitchen. And I had kind of put some stuff out and moved stuff around that weekend inside too. And that night I was washing dishes and I looked over and I just had this sense of like all at once, this house is literally like it's hugging me, like it's an expression of me. And look, I can appreciate me and my husband and who is precious and wonderful and does not care about what I like. He loves our house and he loves whatever I do, and work to incorporate him in it. It's not just me, like our life together.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like a big hug. And I thought, oh my gosh, like how many of us are not appreciating us and ourselves and our loves, our loves,
Mm-hmm.
from the dog to the trees out back to your husband and whatever he loves, even if you don't, loving it because he does is like the most amazing feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just kind of, and like, these are my people. This is my life. My dad's here in this coffee cup, even though he's not here in this world
In
as a
body. Right.
human. Yes.
Right.
Um, anyway, I kind of went off on that tangent, but it's so much bigger. There's all these metaphors and all this that I wanted to pull into an experience of coaching that taught, the how to
Mm-hmm.
kind of from a non-decorator. I'm not a decorator and I can decorate the hell out of my house
Mm-hmm.
because I know what I like
Yeah.
and I let it speak to me and
Yeah.
I find it and I put it on the walls. And then when it doesn't anymore, we move it, we
Mm-hmm.
change it. I send it off into the world to go be with someone else.
You're just talking
But
about messy play again, just like, yeah, just playing.
just
And I
play.
think that a lot of times we get in our heads. By the way, I got emotional with you when you were talking about feeling like a hug from your
Mm.
space and all of that. So, just for our listeners, this is when we talk about coffee mugs and flower pots and things like that. We're talking about so much more. I hope
Oh,
you're getting that,
so
right?
my chills are just
Right?
like all over me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the friends and my people and
Yeah.
inside jokes and
Mhm.
yes,
All of the
absolutely.
things, all of the things, all of the relationships, all of the connections that we make, and we think it has to do with the way things are, like a punch list on a house that's not finished, on a new build. We think it's about that, and it's really not.
Well, and I
So
think
it's
what I'm
yeah,
afraid of, and what I think the world thinks. I had interviewed a lot of women um, after this happened. I just put in a call, like, I want to talk to you. I just want to know how do you feel about this? And, there's one of the things that was just kind of a theme in all the conversations I was having was like people saying they don't really know what they like.
yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
you can go to Home Goods or Target or whatever and grab a thing and bring it home and it may look fine, but then 6 months later, it doesn't do it for you anymore. And that's the thing. Trends are, um, they're, they're put out by the industry to sell the thingy.
Hmm.
And here we are consuming
Hmm.
home decor like we consume chips and throwing it into landfills and throwing it out. And it's crap. It's crap. Now, I've got plenty of that crap here. And so I'm not saying like,
Hmm.
it's horrible, but I don't want it in my life. And I want things that light me up and have meaning. I don't give a shit if it matches the
Hmm.
sofa.
Hmm.
And that to me is freedom. And that's the kind of freedom I want to help women who suffer with this
Hmm.
thing that they think, well, it has to match. And I don't know what style I am. And I don't know how to put things together. Like, I want to encourage them to break the rules
Hmm.
in the spirit of following their heart and what lights them up right now.
Yeah.
And rules are not going to light us up.
And
Like,
they're not, and it's like not even not yeah not only that, rules very much dim our light, I
Oh,
believe. They really, really do. And so
and
we get up in our heads about, well, I don't know, and I'm not good at, and blah blah blah. So let me hire an interior designer to do that for me, but which is fine. This
oh,
isn't
absolutely.
necessarily,
They're
you know,
brilliant
it's fine.
humans.
It's like this is not anti-interior designer. And at the same time, it's also saying, but what if you didn't accept the rule that you can't do this on your own and you just went from your heart and you just played?
Yeah. What
What
if you
would
put
that
your
look
dad's
like?
coffee cup out there and made it a change drop and it made you smile every day? Or what if
Yeah.
you found something at whatever? And I'm not saying Target or Home Goods or any kind of box store is a horrible place, because
Oh,
there's
I
beautiful things there. But when
am.
you know what you want,
I'll say
then
it.
you're going to go buy for it. I would much
Yeah.
prefer, in fact, I'm working on a meditation that kind of like, what if you could buy art from a local artist?
Yes.
What if you could commission something? Oh my God, how fun would that be?
Mhm.
Yeah, it costs more. You'd be surprised that it didn't cost as much as you think.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
how awesome would that be to have, you know, the most amazing vases and whatnots and whatever
Mhm.
that spoke to you and were handmade by someone you locally
Yeah.
helped? And what if you hired a furniture designer and or a carpenter to help build this swing set or whatever, porch
Mhm.
swing or whatever the thing is? Like, what if we didn't look to the box stores to tell us what to buy and
Yeah.
we followed what we wanted to? I love inspiration and I'm all for DIY. Like, I am a DIYer, was raised by DIYers, was cool.
Mhm.
um, and I can appreciate HGTV and all the magazines and all the things, but they are not real.
Mhm.
They're not real.
Well, and it's also it, it kind of it completely bypasses the reality that each of us are unique and wonderful in what you're after now, after having these kind of these moments in your own life, and coming to this realization that you have in fact been playing by the rules. You have been binding yourself.
Yeah, the rules in
Yeah.
decorating might be that, it has to match or um, whatever. And my rules are everything relates to another thing, just like we do.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you want to accentuate the good. And yeah, it's kind of cool to match a thing, but it doesn't have to match by color. It can match by style, can match by because it tells a story. Just for me, one of my favorite things I've realized recently, since we can socialize again and I've been able to have people over,
Hmm.
that I love to walk around with a glass of wine with a new friend and tell them about the things in my bookshelf and the people in the bookshelf and the the stories and the memories and the funny inside jokes and the quirky things about them, even though they're not alive. And even like my husband's grandfather's one, he was a colonel in the Air Force or Air National Guard, and he was quite a character. And we lived, in fact, our 1947 house we bought from my husband's grandparents, and so we had to encounter all of his you know, really rough um home improvement kind
Hmm.
of things, or like I'd say rough. It was like he concreted like sprinkler heads into the ground, like over the top, dude. And I never met him, but like I feel like I have this huge connection to him, and I'm
Hmm.
not like I have a relationship with him. I feel like, even though he's
Yeah.
not here,
Right.
and I love to talk about him as though he was my grandfather. I had grandfathers and knew one of them, but anyway, he's still as much a part of my life, even though he didn't ever actually exist in it as a human.
Hmm.
And I think when you can walk around with a friend, a new friend, and have these conversations and then appreciate those parts of your life, like
Hmm.
there's so much intimacy there.
Yeah.
It's 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 what it's all
It's
about.
why we're here.
It's
It's
why
why
we're
it's
here.
it is exactly why we are here, that connection. And even you saying that reminded me that when you were talking just a moment ago about commissioning a local artist or a local carpenter or that kind of thing, the local thing, that's because you are like literally face to face having interaction with another human. And
Yeah.
my God, if we haven't realized how important that is over the past year and a half, you
Oh, I
know,
know.
then I don't know what we've missed. But
Yes.
it's like I would rather drive to the local bookstore and see if I can find the book I'm wanting than to order anything from Amazon anymore. I just can't do it. If I have to have it, if I must have it, if I really think I must have something,
Yeah. We talked
I
about this the other day. It's
yeah,
kind of like ice cream. Like if you really want it, you
yeah,
don't need to have it delivered. You need to take your ass out there and get it and enjoy
yeah.
the process of
Enjoy
eating it.
the
And
process.
yes.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the people that you meet along the way, because everyone that you meet, everyone that comes into your life is there for a reason. So if we're always looking down at our phones and we're always just trying to bypass the human experience, really, the
Oh, for
experience of
sure.
being around others, but by just,
Hmm.
all of this online ordering and stuff like that. Sure, it's convenient. I get it. I absolutely get
Hmm.
it. But what are we missing? What opportunities are we missing by doing?
Yeah, and that's the other thing because as a graphic designer, I've helped a
Yeah,
lot of my clients kind of bring these intangible concepts to me to turn it into a tangible logo or
yeah.
brochure or whatever to communicate these concepts and really highlight who they are and what they are. And I can see before they can what it's going to be. And of course, I dive deep into all these questions in their brains and all that stuff. And I know that even an interior designer can help people with this kind of thing, but they're not going to necessarily, well, it's not, that's not true. I was going to say they're not necessarily going to help you take a deep dive into your life. They actually can because they would rather you come knowing who you are, what style you like. And like I have all these pictures and I don't know what to do with them. Oh my gosh, they can help with that stuff. That they would love it. In fact, I ran into a friend the other day at Target of all places, as I
Yeah,
bad about them, not really, but
yeah, yeah.
and she was like, she's an interior designer. I was telling her about my experience, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have a client right now who doesn't even like. She just gives us free reign." And I think, how sad! Like how sad to
Mhm,
not know what you like and then just hand it over to someone else because you're essentially using your home to people please or have this look
mhm.
that isn't really tied to your heartstrings. It's tied to being, I don't know, keeping up with the Joneses or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I think a lot of that is just the last ditch effort of people going, well, I don't know what looks good, so I'm just going to let it go. And it's like, what looks good? How do you not know what looks good?
Yeah.
Are you looking at stuff through the eyes of another human? What
Mhm.
you think that someone would think of you? Are you looking at something through the eyes of what you like?
Exactly.
And can you allow yourself to like this
Mhm,
today
mhm,
and bring it home maybe, and then be okay with not liking it next year
mhm,
or putting it on the wall and going, I'm not sure if that's the spot, moving it around and
mhm,
playing with it. Um, kind of having your own back. In a lot of ways, when I built this house, I was like, I went into it like, this is freaking amazing. And I'm going to enjoy every second of it. I'm going to ask for what I want and I'm going to have my own back. Like, whatever decisions I make from the fixtures and whatever are going to be, they're for sure going to date. Like, they're not going to be, trendy or cool, whatever, probably 15 years from now. And that's okay. It's
mhm,
okay. I'm also not going to buy the most trendy thing in the world. I'm going for classic. But anyway, like I just decided at every step, like I'm going to have my own back
mhm,
and I'm not going to let myself regret it. And there are things that I would have done different. And it's those things that I didn't speak up on. I did that. I think it's kind of prevalent for women to be like, I'm just not going to ask for that, or
yeah.
I don't want to be the noisy clank gong or whatever
Mhm,
and be too difficult. And it's those things that I I sort of feared some that's too out of the box or whatever, that had I done, that they would have met me where I am in reality. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know myself better than I sort of by what I wanted and what I could ask for and stuff like that. I just realized from those experiences, oh, and look how they are also the places where I'm not happy, which is very few and far between, but
Mm-hmm.
where I didn't speak up. And I don't say that to blame anyone else, but just that self-awareness around like where I played small
Yeah.
is just a way that I was trying to kind of fall into some status quo, rule abiding persona that exists in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it exists in the world, but that doesn't even matter because it's up here where I'm making decisions. And instead of in this creative, like, this would be fun and this would be awesome. And this would really do it justice. This would really be amazing,
Right. Right.
and worthy. I'm worthy of
Oh,
asking for it. Oh my God.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we're not talking about like the humans out there who are simply just have zero interest in any of this. And it's like,
No.
like I'm hiring an interior designer because it's like I know exactly what I want, but I have zero interest in
And
doing.
I don't want to mess with it.
I
Yeah,
don't want
that's
to
what
shop.
I'm
I
talking
don't want to
about.
mess with it. You're talking to the humans that are like, I don't know. I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
not good
know.
enough. I'm not good at this. Whenever
Yes,
whenever we say that I'm not good at this, we take on that identity of that low self-worth, right?
absolutely. I'm not good at this. I'm not worthy enough to to take this hammer and nail and put this in the wall and hang this up and
Mhm.
see what I think. I'm that the fear is they need to know where they're going before they get there. They need
Yeah.
to see it all
Mhm.
before they arrive.
Mhm.
And that they don't have the capability to figure it out or do it right or do it in a way that looks good.
Mhm.
There's this, it's like, man, we're afraid to put a nail in the wall. And how could we not be afraid to step out into some sort of shining light if
Mhm.
in our other places in our life, if we're not even willing to put a hammer or nails down and hang this piece of art or move this piece of furniture or whatever.
Mhm.
I have I have like formulas and balance and kind of bigger art, what makes design work kind of concepts that I can teach you to hang it and place it and kind of make it, as I said earlier, kind of relate one thing relating to another thing, to another thing, to another thing,
Mhm.
and highlighting what's beautiful in your home. I could teach you how to do that. But if you're so worried about putting the hole in the wall and so worried about well, I don't know what that's going to look like,
Mhm.
too worried to do that, to bring the vase in here and set it down or whatever, like that is, where else are you
And
doing
then
that?
what
And
other
it's your
areas?
house.
Mhm.
Yes,
And
it's your
what other areas?
house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so using what you have from the inside, whether we're talking about looking at your life
Mhm.
and your experiences and where you are now and what you love and who you want to be, and more of who you are even than who you want to be, unless we're talking about the capital YOU,
Mhm.
the bigger, best you, not this like perfectionist version that you want to, whatever. Like I'm talking about loving your quirks. I'm talking about loving the hard moments in life, and damn it, put something on the wall that represents what you went through, and you can love yourself and seeing it kind of like where you are, what you have now is fine. Let's use it and go where start somewhere and just build on it, because this isn't a means to an end. It's a dance. It's a beautiful thing. It's like, it's going to change. It's going to morph. You're going to
Yeah.
have new experiences and you're going to want to put those on the wall. Put them on the wall. Move the old things out. Move them around.
There is no done.
There's no done
There's not like a finish line that you're trying to reach. It's just
until you're dead.
constant. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the way I look at it, is that this entire life is a journey, and yes, things change along the way. So, but yeah, this idea of just experimenting and messy play is where you are now. And I love that because I can tell that it's just like really opening up something in you that is just beautiful,
Oh,
right?
it's
I
beautiful.
mean,
That
you've been beautiful. You have been beautiful since I've known you, 100%. But I see something more because I see that
oh,
realization and that self-awareness.
from this place where this is uncovering itself for me, I can see I want to change the world in a bigger way than just let's put pretty shit on the wall. I mean, we're going to think about being intentional human beings from a place of
Hmm.
our values and like embracing that, going towards our nature and in turn towards Mother Nature and towards what's actually good for this planet and what's good for our fellow humans and all that stuff is much bigger, deeper, more meaningful than anything you might do in your house. But it has this similar, like,
Yeah.
if you can change what you see and what you think about the things around you and even how you show up to clean it,
Hmm.
not in a way that I gotta get through this, I got to get through this. It's like loving your stuff and appreciating your stuff and
Mm.
enjoying it and then
Mm.
pulling things in from outside that light you up and where you get it from and who you honor and what goodness you see. I mean, just all these like things to me trickle in from what you eat to who you hang out with and who you're being in your business. And to me, it's like women are almost more naturally inclined to this kind of deeper meaning, nurturing, loving beings. And the world needs that from us.
Yeah, exactly.
It needs that. It needs us to get in our nests and go, yeah, get to know myself, start arguing with myself, stop judging self, stop freaking paying attention to the cellulite on your ass and start looking at who you are as a human, as a wonderful spiritual being and
Hmm.
sharing it with the world and like spending your money in a way that aligns with your values, spending your time in a way that aligns with your values, what you eat, who you are being, all of those things. And I'm a very lofty, like visionary kind of person, but I know I don't do this perfectly, so to speak, but that's also part of the human experience. So there's so much like peace within me that goes, yeah, and that's okay. It's okay
Hmm.
because where I am right now is absolutely perfect. I don't have to worry about what it's going to be and how it's going to, I've been in saying that, kind of embracing my own humanity. I've been tilling and toiling and over this dang coaching experience I want to create, thinking
Hmm.
I have to know the answers.
Yes.
Yes, and it hit me like a ton of rocks a week ago, or not really, just a week ago or so. Like, get out of your way. People need you. The world needs this. Would you just listen?
Yeah.
Go out there, create a container, so to speak, where I can learn and figure out from the people I'm helping
Yeah.
what needs to be in this program to
Yeah.
sort of encapsulate this,
Yeah.
teach the how and meet them where they are, sort of see where they're struggling with. And I think what I'm going to see is a lot of playing small, perfectionist, people pleasing, a lot of I don't like this and I don't like that. My husband should be this way and my
Hmm.
kids should be that way. And what I want to bring in is peace around that and acceptance and going, hey, anyway,
Yeah.
but I want to just be receptive to what my people need. I'm thinking about them all the time. And now I'm ready to like help them in a kind of messy way, like this is an experiment. And I've kind of gone, yeah, I have 992 outlines of what I will do. And I'm going to just kind of toss it,
Yeah.
like loosely hold on to that
Yeah.
vision. I think that's what we need to do when we're decorating our homes, when we're doing our business. You can't know the end before you start the book or
Hmm.
the next chapter or whatever. You have to just start where you are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I love that. I love all of that. It's, just because the the other thing about this experiment of yours is that you're gonna dig into those other areas, you know they're going to come up. You know that's what's going to happen. But also, what comes out of that is something tangible, something you can see. We work on the minds all the time. We work with people, we work with thoughts, we work with concepts, we work with those things. And you're talking about incorporating something into it that is actually going to represent the work that you're doing. Like even if it's nothing more than a and I say that very very loosely because it's everything, even if it's even if it is a commissioned piece of art from a local artist that is now hanging on the wall that wasn't there before in this
Yeah, or
big
your
in this
daughter. I
big
mean,
vast blank space, whatever it is,
yeah.
but it's something that represents this part of your journey, really digging in and finding those areas where you're holding yourself back in everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And, thinking you need the answers, thinking I had a friend ask me this a couple months ago, actually during this experience around it, kind of probably before, actually, I know it was before when I was going through this, I kind of walked into 2021 like, okay, bring on my woo. I want spirit to guide me. I'm going to follow intuition. I got to get out of my head. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to let myself experiment, and I'm going to kind of follow around inclinations without a lot of drama. And she, of course, that's easier said than done. Part of me one is like, can I just be a different person? No,
Yeah.
can do. Um, but my friend said, Holly, if I asked you to go on a trip with me and didn't, like, if I said we're getting in the car and we're going to come back on Sunday or Monday, you would need to know where we were going, how we were going to get there, what to pack, all the things. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh my God, she's right. And there's a lot of things 19-year-old Holly did that I cannot condone right now. But one of the things I love about 19-year-old Holly is that she would have gotten in that car and she would have said, let's go, boo. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in,
Yeah.
let's go. There's no questioning. And adult Holly is not being that way. Adult
Mm-hmm.
me was totally absent of that kind of the essence of adventure. And I know I'm not the only one.
Right.
I still think I'm 19 in so many ways. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm 40 now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? No,
But
I
I know.
can't be.
I know, but that 19-year-old you still is there. It's so
Oh,
I love that
yes.
you brought that up because I just did a couple of episodes about the wisdom of your inner child. Now, I was talking about much younger, because
Oh, yeah. And I normally
because
think about that as
yeah.
a much younger, before 8, before you're all the
Yes,
socialization kind of,
yes,
yes.
exactly. Exactly. But at the same time, I recognize and acknowledge that there are aspects of our teenage selves that are still good. Like
Yeah.
well, let's go, boo, whatever. Just
Yes.
even that element right there, that
Even that
characteristic to
is
recognize that
lovely, because,
it
and
is.
that's the thing, Rich, it's like we are free to do whatever the hell we want to do at
Yeah.
any moment in our lives. And what I want to do is go jump in the car with my friend if she
Yeah.
asks me. But
Yeah.
then there's the rule part of me that's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but
I have to check my calendar and I have to do this. Yeah.
yes. And I think, what if we just listen to that gut? What if we just listen to our nature,
Yeah.
who we are, truth? That to me that's integrity in a
Mm-hmm.
way that it doesn't have anything to do with pleasing other people and whatever. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And all that stuff ends up being some story that your brain concocts to keep you safe from the story happening, but it's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the monsters aren't gonna come eat you, the adults aren't gonna come get you. There probably are repercussions, but you're gonna be okay. Like, and
Yeah.
what you want is truth. You know what I mean? It's kind of,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It's a lot of, I think a lot of what we're talking about is these metaphors for life in a bigger way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really all metaphors, but you can't see that kind of if you're so in the weeds. When you back up and you let go and you bring some lightness, some humor, some fun, some adventure, some of who you really are, which really a lot of that comes from, right brain thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You are more you. And
Yeah.
there's so much freedom there. It's not get up, go to work, do the things, pay the bills, focus on your cellulite or whatever
Yeah.
crappy problem you're wasting your brain power on. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all
Mm-hmm.
for being happy and I'm healthy, but like, come on,
Yeah.
that's never going to make you happy.
Right. It
The,
isn't.
the, the full bank accounts, it's going to be great, but it's not going to be happiness,
No.
if you don't know how to do that now and create that for yourself and know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not a coincidence that while I'm doing this, I've been doing a book group with The Artist's Way. I don't know if you're familiar with The Artist's Way,
I am not.
Julia Cameron's. Oh, it's such a good book. But one of the like synchronicities that I experienced was reading something like, if you don't have a self to express, then what self-expression? That's the most important thing. The most important part of self-expression is having a self.
Yeah.
And we can't really deny that other people become part of ourselves and that the world kind of dictates some of that. But what do we want? What are we proud of? And what do we want to like lift up and put it on the walls and see? And it's your damn wall.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And the people in it that come and see your wall
Yeah.
are probably people that love you and want to love you or want to be a part of it and want to know, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
It's not supposed to look like HGTV. It's not supposed to look like anything but what, you and your person, your spouse, your partner, your roommate, your
Yeah.
whatever, like
Yeah.
your life is there. So
Yeah.
the
So,
supposed to thing is
yeah, it needs
supposed
to go
to.
away. Supposed to and should, that language needs to go. I agree. But yeah, finding yourself, expression is a beautiful thing and it's a part of you. So let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Let's
If
do it.
if people want to connect with you and get in on one of your experiments, I mean, I think by the time this is published, by the time you hear it, it may well be past. But if you want to connect with Holly and just get to know her, walk the journey with her,
Oh yeah.
how would one do that?
So right now my website is still it's hollyherlocker.com, but it's still very much oriented towards coaching creative professionals.
Mm-hmm.
But I email my list regularly with invites. And then I'm on Facebook at Holly Herlocker Coaching and Instagram. That's also my handle, Holly Herlocker Coaching. And it's HERLOCKER, not his locker, her locker.
I know. I love it. I love that name. It's a good name.
Anyway, and I'm not, like I said, it's an experiment. So I'm busting out and I'm trying it, seeing what happens and what I can find out about it. And I'm not worried about updating my site to reflect
Yeah.
this yet and all the things, although my social does kind of reflect it now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, it felt like, okay, I'm getting into the weeds and something like it's unimportant to the world what my website says right now.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't even know what mine says anymore. So I haven't looked at it in so long. I'm like, does anybody even go to
Well,
websites? I don't know.
you know what it's like to kind of
Yeah.
sit and create from it inside of your walls and worry
Mm-hmm.
about what everyone else is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of what put me in this place of like, you know what, go find out what other people are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So this experiment is about helping people where they are and with whatever they're dealing with and learning from them what needs to be taught in a bigger
Yeah. Yeah.
picture kind of program. So it's 6 weeks and I'm teaching the how to, which as you know, as a coach, we're kind of like, okay, I'm not really getting on what
Mhm.
your actions are going to be, but I'm totally going in and teaching
Mhm.
actions,
You're
the
breaking the
steps,
rules.
the
You're
how
breaking the
to.
rules. Yeah,
I'm breaking
exactly.
the rules.
Love it.
And then I'm encouraging them to break the rules and use exactly what they have. There's no need to go buy anything. There's no need to do anything drastic, or no furniture, no big shopping sprees. I want you to have a list of what you would love to have and kind of inspired, be willing to kind of step in on this path
Mhm.
and then just start taking steps where
Okay.
you are.
I love it. All right. I'll
Yeah.
link everything up in the show notes. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for this
This is
conversation.
awesome. Well, thank you for this conversation.
Okay. Wow. It's just me now. Here's what happened. Zoom froze up on us right at the end, but you didn't miss much. Maybe 20 or 30 seconds of goodbyes. The technology gods were like, this is where it ends. It's perfect just like this. Oh my God, how well does that play into what Holly was talking about, too? And I'm here for it. What was missed in the Zoom freeze was that Holly mentioned she will continue to evolve this experiment she is doing. So get yourself connected with her now. If you catch this episode by the week of August 9th, 2021, there's still time to get in on her first round, and it's very affordable. If it's much later when you are hearing this, I have no doubt she has created something amazing for you to explore. Check the show notes for ways to reach her. One thing that we did talk about after the recording ended is how we both have opened ourselves up fully to the woo in 2021. I love that we are connecting ourselves to the magic and mystery between the physical world and our souls. Both Holly and I are aligning this into our daily lives as well as our coaching. A few weeks ago, we were having a similar conversation to the one we've shared with you today, except in that one, she told me about a kind of flashback moment that she'd had with one of her past lives. She saw this vision of this gorgeous black woman wearing colorful garments and balancing a beautiful vase of water on her head in an African landscape. And said that she knew immediately that it was her. This is part of what set her on the path to not only identifying how important it was to bring beautiful, functional, and meaningful objects into our physical spaces, but also making those connections to life, this life. After this recording, she also sent me this message. The day I started decorating the porch was a Sunday. I let myself get carried away with it more on Monday. At some point that Monday afternoon, I looked at my watch and it said 1 o'clock or something. I instantly thought, shit, how could something that feels so wonderful be so frivolous? Which had this underlying wrongness to it in my mind. I should be working on my business. And almost like spirit or a sack of rocks hit me at once and said, this is so important, Holly. It doesn't matter what time of day or day of the week you work in your business. This work is life, and it's exactly why you wanted to have any kind of business. With this and the episode around my shoes by the back door, I had that sense of embodying the beautiful woman with the water vase on her head, taking care of her home and her people, being who she was and doing what she needed to do. And that is the end of what she sent me. That. All of it. Oh, finding your self-expression, however you find it, is indeed a beautiful thing. So, I hope that you were able to pick up on all of the magical metaphors in this episode and that you are able to make your own meaningful connections in the moments of this life that may seem mundane or uninteresting, even unimportant. There's always a meaning to be found. Maybe it's through spirit, maybe it's through a sack of rocks. Either way, we both want to see you light up and shine on.